Hey guys, I am back, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it is December 30th, which means tomorrow is New Year's Eve, which means the day after that marks the first day of 2016, and that's scary. That is super scary. Anyways, so I am here to follow along with everybody else on BookTube and post my favorite books of 2015. Now I'm going to say right now that not all of these books were published in 2015. I just read them or reread them in 2015 and absolutely loved them. They are on my favorite shelf, but they're not right now because I have them all stacked somewhere else. So yeah, let's get into it. These are in no order at all. First book I have is Paper Towns by John Green. This is an absolutely ugly cover. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but this cover is so ugly. I hate it. I'm like, you couldn't find a different picture to use for the movie tie-in cover. Anyways, I read this from a book club, and I've been meaning to read it. I need to finish reading all my other John Green books, because at this point I am down up to 2 John Green books, and he has another one coming out, I'm guessing, next year, since it was supposed to come out this year, but there's like literally a day and a half left of 2015, so it's obviously not coming out. But I absolutely love this book. I have a book talk on this. I will link it down below. I love this book. I love the characters. Oh my gosh, I love the adventure. This book got me to love any book that has to do with road trips, so I love road trips. I want to take a road trip with my friends. That'd be so much fun. So anyways, I absolutely love this. I love the characters. I love John Green. So why wouldn't this be on here? It's a John Green book, like, let's be real. The next book I have is Entwined by Heather Dixon. This is a fairy tale retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses story. I don't know about any of you out there, but I'd never even heard of that story. Like, I know Barbie made a movie out of it, and I think I watched it, but like, I don't know the story behind the 12 Dancing Princesses. So I was like, you know what, let's give it a try. And my book club picked this for our book of the month, and I was kind of iffy, like, am I gonna like it? I've never heard of it. I mean, the cover is absolutely gorgeous, so like, that kind of helped ease me into it. I absolutely love this book. I have a book talk on this too, so I will link it down below. I absolutely love this book. Heather Dixon's writing, I just don't know what it is, but it pulls me in, and like, literally I flew through this book. Oh, it was so beautifully written, and I love all the characters, and I love the world it's set in. I love the fact that it's like, I don't want to say olden times because that sounds really weird, but set back when, you know, the lands were still ruled by royalty and all this stuff. And it's set in that time period, and there used to be magic in the kingdom, or at least like in the palace from one of the previous kings centuries ago. And then like this guy went crazy and everything. And so the magic has been bottled up inside the castle that that the royal family lives in. And a few of the things are still charmed, but there's really not much magic left in there. And it's just so good. Like, you need to read this. Like, I'm so upset not more people have read it. Like, I loved it, and it's a funny story because my roommate and I have really similar tastes in books and stuff, and so we always recommend books back and forth to each other when we talk about books. I was talking to her, and I was like, dude, I have this book you have to read. It's like so amazing. I love it, and it's beautifully written. Like, it just draws you in and keeps you held in. And I told her it was Entwined, and she was like, oh my god, I love that book. So like, she already read it, so I was like, I love you. Next up we have is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. I have a book talk on this one as well, and I will link it down below. I was really hesitant about this book. I did not want to pick it up for the longest time because I didn't like the cover, and the premise of the book sounded not so happy to me. Because if you don't know, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl is about this guy named Greg and his best friend Earl, and then this girl that lives, I think, down the street from him, or I know he goes to school with her, Rachel. Rachel is diagnosed with some type of cancer, and she doesn't have a lot of time, and treatment options aren't looking very good for her. So this is about him befriending her, but it's not your normal take on a cancer story. Like, Fault in Our Stars, like, we all love it, it's great, but it tears your heart apart at the end, as we all know, or at least those of us who have read it or seen the movie. Still cry like a baby every time I see the movie. This puts more of a humorous spin on it. Like, yes, it's sad and everything, but the way the author writes about it, it just makes it such a different feeling, and it's funny, and he keeps talking about, because Greg narrates the story like he's writing like a movie script. And he talks about it like, there's scenes where it's him and Rachel are hanging out, and he talks like, if this was a teen romance or whatever, we'd like look longingly into each other's eyes and start realizing we're falling in love with each other, but that's not what this is. And it's just so funny. It's so good. Like, I'm so mad at myself for putting it off for so long. So if you haven't read this, definitely read this. And I need to see the movie. I actually read this to see the movie, and then when I went to the movie theaters, the movie was no longer in theaters. So that was disappointing. But this is a really good book. Next, we have Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell. I love this book. This book is so cute. I also have a book check on this one because this was another book club pick. So good. I loved it. My desk jacket's gross though, because it's like cream and there's like black shit on it. But this book is so cute. It's set in the 80s, and it shows like the relationship between Park and Eleanor, and it's just so cute. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I love this book. Like, it has sad parts in it. Like, it deals with a family problem, and so that's sad, but like other than that, like, it's a really good book. Like, I really loved it. Next up we have Hanko by Rainbow Rowell. This is probably one of my ultimate like top 5 favorite books ever written, ever read. I just connect so much with Kath, like you don't understand. And oh my god, I love this book. If you haven't read this book, what are you doing with your life? Like, I know you're saying no, it's so overhyped, but dude, like, it's amazing. Like, I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved everything about it, and it's so beautiful. And I want myself a Levi, and you just need to read it. This is also a book club pick, so I also have a book talk over this one, so I'll link it down below so you can go check it out. It's so good. Like, literally, what are you doing with yourself if you have not read this yet? Next, we have Missborne by Brandon Sanderson, and I know I'm kind of jumping on the bandwagon here, but my cousin-in-law actually gave it to me 2 years ago when I was visiting my aunt up in Indiana. And he told me it was his favorite book and his favorite author, so I was like, okay, I'll read it. And then this was before like Missborne like exploded all over BookTube. So like, and I tried reading it several times, but I always got distracted by other things. But I finally picked it up, and I finally read it, and I finally finished it, and I finally, like, I'm in love. Like, I have the next 2 books already because I need to read it and I need to finish it, and it's, the characters are so great. The storyline is just something else. Like, oh my god, I loved it. Like, I have a book talk over this one too, so I will link it down below. But it's so good. Like, you need to read it. Like, if you haven't read it, like, you're missing something in your life if you haven't read this. Then we have, I'm just going to put these together because they go together, The Lightning Thief and the Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan. No, this is not my first time reading this series. I actually read this back in middle school, and that's actually what got me into reading, thankfully. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it because we read this for my 7th grade book for our class, and then like after we finished the book, I had to go buy all the other ones and read them. So I made myself a goal for this year to reread all of the Percy Jackson books in preparation because I am so far behind it's not even funny. And there's another book that is going to revolve around Percy Jackson coming out this summer. I think it's either this spring or this summer. And I'm so far behind. It's sad. So I was like, I'm going to work my butt off over Christmas break and try to get as far along in the series as I have. And at this point, I have finished these 2 books. I'm currently reading The Titan's Curse. And oh my god, if you haven't read Percy Jackson, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you zip through these books. Like, I think I read this one in like 3 days. And this one probably in like 5 after semester ended. Oh my god, it's so good. Like, you have to read it. Like, I'm sad for you if you haven't read it. Like, I know you're probably thinking, oh, it's middle grade. Like, yeah, it's middle grade, so it's kind of easier to read. It makes it easier to get through. But, like, the characters and the plots and the world and everything is just so flipping fantastic. Like, you'll love it. Like, it doesn't matter that it's middle grade. You're going to love it. And it's like, after you get through the base series, which is Percy Jackson, and then the Olympians, which is these first 5 books, you go on to the second series, which are a lot bigger than these books are, and they're more grown up. Percy is a year older in every book, so you like grow up with him. So by the time you get to the second series, he's like, well, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. He's 17 and like older in the next series. So like, it's so good. Like, you have to read it. Like, please read it. Like, it's so good. And the last of my favorites I actually don't have with me because I forgot to pack them when I was leaving my dorm room. I'm kind of sad about it. But it's the Saga graphic novels. The first 5 books, I read them, I marathoned them, and I love them, and I cannot wait for volume 6 to come out because it's going to be great. The drawings in them are just so beautiful. The storyline is just something else, and I love it. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. And I have a book talk over the first 3 volumes, so I'll link that down below so you can go read it. But anyways, those are my favorite books of 2015. I had a slightly better reading year than I did last year, so I'm kind of proud of that. I read 5 more books this year than I did last year. I haven't made my goal on Goodreads. I'm like 2 books away, and there's no way I'm going to make it, so I've just kind of given up. So yeah, let me know down below what your favorite books you read in 2015 were. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time with a book talk top 5 Wednesday or a tag video. Until then, I'm Chrissy. Goodbye. Look at my shirt. My shirt is so cool. Like, it's got dinosaurs on it. Isn't it cute? Oh my god, I'm in love.